Hey, girlfriend, I am so glad you're here. Grab a cup of coffee. Come join us because we're talking with Ginine Smith today about stepping out, showing up. What does that more look like? All these beautiful things. And you know what I love about these conversations, Janine, is that it's inviting a girlfriend to come walk alongside you, or you walk alongside them and, help raise them up to what all that they can be. And I just love everything that you're doing. Welcome. And I'm going to
Thank
share
you.
a little bit about you in just a moment, but I just want to say hello.
Hello. Thank you. And I
Hello.
love how you started it. Hello, girlfriend. Go grab some wine or a cup of coffee. I love that.
Yes, wherever you're at. This is what I always think of this as sit back, let's have a little me time, let's have a little conversation with a
Yes,
girlfriend, to just knowing that we don't have to be walking through life alone,
exactly.
that we have girlfriends here that can help us and challenge us to think differently or dive a little deeper or see that beauty within. But let me just introduce you just a little bit. You are a global speaker, a TV show host, award-winning author, founder of the Badass Lioness. I just love that. With over 3 decades on stage, from boardrooms to global platforms, you help women and leaders turn their stories into powerful presence, impact, and influence. Oh my goodness. We all have a story, and I have been about stories for over 12 years. And really, we are here to honor and celebrate the stories of women. And
Yes.
you do that every day and help women to show up in and sharing their stories. So tell us a little bit about how you got to where you are today and why this might be important to you.
Well, thank you. I first just want to say thank you. And I'm so
Hmm.
grateful to you, Karen. You are a light. You are a powerful leader in bringing women together. What you're doing for the world is extraordinary. And I love the way you do it, the your presence, the way you everything about you. So and the personal on the personal side, that you went above and beyond for me when I was right after my mom died and I was speaking at a Healing Through Action summit. And you completely just blew me away at the gifts that you sent to me.
Oh.
So thank you.
Well, I hope all the ladies enjoyed them. So, women who don't know, at events, I give away a little purse charm because Nicole Richie said we should all have jewelry on our handbags. So, I took
Yes.
that to heart and, just giving these little gifts along the way. I figure we only live once. I like to give little gifts. It's fun. So, yeah. So, to share
Yes.
a little bit about you and your story.
Well, thank you. And you're right. We all have stories.
Mhm.
And I don't know about you, but I'm kind of getting sick of those posts all over the internet that say your story matters. Well, our stories do matter, yes, but it's what we do with them. If we
Mhm.
keep them on a shelf, if we keep them bottled up inside, who are they benefiting but our own selves, right?
Mhm.
So if we tell our stories in a way that connect, that inspire, that give women permission to tell their story and to be their authentic selves, that's when the stories become magic. And that's what I'm all about because I had some challenges growing up. My father was killed when I was young, which would led me down a path that I'm not proud of, but it was a survival mode. I went into addiction and severe depression and low self-worth and got myself into situations. It's in the Story to Stage book, so I won't go into detail about some of those stories, but it's true when I say a serial killer almost took me out and then my own body tried to finish the job. That's the hook because it is
Whoa.
it is so powerful that sometimes it's those life's moments that bring us to that point in our lives where we have to make that bold decision to step into who God created us to be because we're all made for more. And so I have decided to devote my life because I'm on the other side of that. In 2010, I flatlined on the way to the hospital because I was doing everything for everybody. I was exhausting myself into Burnoutville, Busyville. It starts out with Busyville, right? We're doing for
Yeah.
everybody else. I myself was performing to earn my place in this world, to earn the approval of others. And because I had that low self worth, I hadn't grieved and healed through so many of those stories. I was still in catharsis mode. So when I flatlined, it was because I wasn't paying attention to myself. I didn't think I was worth taking care of myself. And that was one of the best things that could have ever happened to me because I got on the other side of that. I obviously lived. And I'm here to tell the story that we are made for so much more. You can have that joy and abundance. You could have that peace that surpasses understanding on the other side of busy and burnoutville. And it's in the little decisions that we make, the bold moves that we make every single day that determine if we get on the other side of that and if our story becomes the gift, because that's what I call it. If we are telling our story in a way where, okay, I survived this. However, you may be going through the same thing, maybe not exact, but you may be going through a death or a grieving or a depression. And I want you to know that you're not alone and you connect with that person on, and you do such a great job of that, Karen.
Mm.
You have mastered that skill.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so there's a lot to unpack there. Yeah, okay. Girls, did you just hear all that? Okay.
I know.
Loss of a parent, run in with a serial killer, come through that, flatlined, all those things. I mean, and within what I find so interesting too is that when you start looking at your stories and you see the circumstance and what the pivot point was, or maybe that aha moment or that moment where you walk down the road a little differently, and then you realize the lessons learned or the hope that came
Mm-hmm.
through that,
Mm-hmm.
it's that storytelling process. There's a lot of times a story within a story too.
Mm-hmm.
And the
Mm-hmm.
stories I find too, and it'll be interesting to hear what you say too about this. A lot of times, first, it's a healing for us.
Yes.
And
Yes.
like you said too, it's that those points that resonate with somebody else within their own story. Because it's not the circumstances so much. It's Janine, so those moments where you felt that loss or that fear or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, because those are the emotions that people relate to. And then
Mm-hmm.
that overcoming or the grit or the push, whatever it was that you had to get through that to get to that hope,
Yes.
those magical moments that, just, and it's those feelings that we do. But you said something about more, that you're stepping into who you are, made for more, that, and you call that the secret sauce. So when I hear more, so let's just put everybody at ease here, because sometimes when we hear, you were made for more, sometimes we think, oh my gosh, here I got to go do something more, you
Exactly.
know
Yes.
and it becomes a burden.
Mm-hmm.
So what I would love for you to explain to the ladies is that it's about how you show up in your life. And I think you even
Mm-hmm.
said that in the reflection. So, ladies, if you don't have the magazine in front of you, the Being Brave Tour, she's in the issue. She's not done yet. And pull that open because you can follow along because we're going to be answering or asking some of the questions, diving deep into just a couple of the things in her reflection, but you can go through it all on your own too. But you talk about this, about
Mm-hmm.
just showing up in your life.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, number one, you're never too old, you're never too broken. Your past does not disqualify you from an abundant future. There is no shame in going through some trials growing up. If we learn from them and we grow and we pass on that knowledge, that's the magic, right? So when I say you are made for more, it is stepping into your authentic self. It's knowing and believing that you belong in every room, that you are not inferior to anybody. There's no reason why any of us should compete or compare ourselves to another woman. We're in this life together. You are worthy, you are loved, you are seen and heard, and you are not alone. That's what I mean by being made for more, because as women, I think we're designed to care about everybody else, to do everything for everybody. We I lost my voice for a while. I forgot the Janine that had those grand dreams when I was 5 years old. When I was six, I told my mom I wanted to be a rock star. I didn't even know what that meant. We didn't even have access really to TV or just maybe the radio, but not the abundance that we have all around us,
Right.
access. But I knew that I wanted to make a difference in people's lives, right? So we tend to forget those things. So that's what I mean by made for more and the rise framework that I came up with that is ever evolving. So when we go through something, it's remembering who you are and that you are worthy and that you are worth it to take care of
Mhm.
yourself, to reclaim your voice, your energy, your worth. Your story is important. And also, it's not just a mindset. I know we talk a lot about mindset. That is important. I talk about the bullies in your head, that you don't need to listen to all of those voices telling you that you're not good enough. You're going to fall, you're going to fail. Where do those voices come from, though? It's usually our subconscious, our nervous system, because we have not healed. Our conscious mind might be telling us, yes, I know I'm made for more. I know I belong on that stage. But if your nervous system, your subconscious is telling you the opposite, then they're at war with one another. And so we need to step into that healing, that recovery, whatever it takes to get there. And you mentioned it earlier. Sometimes it's storytelling, it's writing things down, it's telling it to another person. Even if you don't have the courage yet to step into like a big stage or a big group of people, you can write it down, you can record it on your phone, you can pick that one person that you do trust and love, tell your story, get it out. Does that make
Yes.
yes, it's
Yes. And so one of the things in the reflection that I think popped out for me is you said something about trusting your voice.
yes.
And I don't know, that was just swirling around for me. It just kind of popped out and it's like, trust my voice. And I see women a lot of times even showing up like on a Zoom, like in a network meeting, or maybe, in a church group or wherever it is. And I see that hesitation a lot.
Yes.
And
Y-
I just sometimes want to go give them a hug and go,
yes.
you know what? You have trust that voice within you. You have
Mhm.
something, if you're 50 plus, you got a lot of wisdom years that you've built in, wisdom from your lived experiences. That has a lot of value.
It really does. Trusting your voice. Some of it's habitual though. I still have those times where my mentors or my confidants or my partners will call me out and say, "You sounded so unsure about yourself." It's
I
almost
know.
like you were asking
I
for an
can
apology
relate.
first or apologizing first.
Oh,
Some
yeah.
of it's habitual. Again, it's our past coming creeping
Yeah.
up behind us, and it still happens to me. And that's why I love being a part of connection and power women groups like what you've created, because we can hold each other accountable. Lori Hardy's one of them. She'll say,
Yeah.
"Why did you just say that? I know you, Janine. I know you're very confident in the training that you're giving. So then why did you start it with this preface, And
Oh,
sometimes it is habitual, but trust your voice. If you've done the work, you know that you belong in every room and you know that your message has value and that it's the medicine that that one person needs out there. Say it with bravery, with
oof.
conviction. Just say it and don't care about what people think. I think as we get older, we care less and less,
Yes.
which is a good thing, right? It's true because I used to. compare myself to everybody, and it usually I ended up inferior to everybody that I was around. That again, this is my past, and sometimes it does creep up. And I just have to remind myself, you've done the work, you've gotten to the other side. We never arrive at perfection. None of us are perfect. I am so imperfect, but I embrace that. I love my quirky self. I love the mistakes I make. Sometimes I love the mistakes I make in front of other people because then they can see, oh, she's owning it. She's taking accountability and she's owning who she is, and she's not perfect. Oh, maybe I can go out there and be myself.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, and so you walk us through this little reflection, and you talk about your RISE formula and or the framework, and you ask some questions. So I picked out just a couple questions for us to kind of walk
Sure.
through, give some examples, what this might be like, because I think as you were talking about, showing up and sometimes those hesitations, those things that we've learned from the past. And I think part of this framework, what it was doing for me was building, kind of reinforcing my book of proof
Oh,
of
book
things
of
that
proof.
I had, maybe where I had shown up in some place, because you ask, in part of this, where was a moment where an experience or something. And, we have those good experiences and bad experiences, but some of it is those good ones. Maybe where I showed up and I was maybe felt uneasy, but then I trusted my voice.
Yes.
And it's like, oh, I did do that. And sometimes it takes our girlfriends to remind us of that.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Because I forget what it was, just like Karen, I spoke at something that was really out of my box. And one of the girlfriends said something about it, oh, you did great, and gave some specifics about how I showed up. And I thought, I got to put that in my book of proof. And that's, I think, when you go walk us through this, that's what it reminded me of, is kind of remembering too those moments that, maybe we did show up in our authentic self, that trueness. But walk us through this framework just real quickly. It's called the RISE framework. So what does the R stand for?
Yes, let me walk through it. So R is to reclaim, and I just mentioned that not long ago. So reclaim your voice, your energy, your worth. Remember who you were as your 5-year-old self.
Ooh,
And when you
playful.
reclaim your voice, you're able to release the things that do not serve you well, and it allows you to reveal your true identity, the woman that you are becoming, not the old you that was stuck in bondage and chained up. Reveal the real you. The eyes integrate. This is one of the most important things because you're integrating all pieces. I used to compartmentalize and I was very fragmented. I was corporate Ginine, creative Ginine, broken Ginine, perfect Ginine. Not that I was perfect, but the wanting to be perfect, the church Ginine. I compartmentalized because I thought I needed to, and all of my stories, I would keep certain stories locked up because I didn't think that they were relevant in, like, let's say, the corporate sense. And so if you integrate all of those stories, but then also we talked about the conscience and the subconscious mind, those need to be integrated as well. And it takes work, it takes practice. There are simple things that you can do, breath work, attitude of gratitude, focusing on the things that you're grateful for. Humming rewires your brain. I
Hmm.
don't know if you know that, but it connects
Oh,
your voice with your vagus nerve, which your vagus nerve is very much connected to your subconscious and your nervous system. So if we can regulate that nervous system and get to a point, and it does take practice, but practice, 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 then when you're showing up at those places that you talked about, then you can be your authentic self because your nervous system is regulated. It's
Oh,
calm
that's
and your
interesting.
presence is calm. And then the S stands for storytelling. So then it allows you to tell those stories in a way that do transform, that impact the other person. It's not about me. It becomes a you and a them, right? You're telling your story in a way, and it's your whole self that's telling the story. You're showing up feeling safe in your nervous system.
Mm,
Therefore, other people feel safe because they feel you before you even say one or two words. They feel your presence, they feel the love, they feel the light that you're shining, and they feel safe. And so they put their phone down, they pay attention because they love that way they're
mm,
feeling. And then when you start speaking your story, you've already won them over. And so then those words become about transformation. And so then the
wow.
E is empower. It's being empowered. You have done the work. Therefore, you are internal, you've gone through the personal, the internal transformation to the point where you are so empowered to get out and help that one person that needs you that day, which leads to expansion. Because if we expand our territory, then it goes out. It's like a rock star ripple effect. It goes out more and more and more, and it touches more people. That is what Rise is. And the reflection in your magazine has some reflection thoughts and journaling and exercises that are very, very simple. All it takes is 5 to 10 minutes a day. And do I have time to share this one story that totally relates to what I'm talking about?
Yeah, go ahead.
We talked about showing up in those rooms where sometimes we're not sure if we feel comfortable or if we belong. It's that subconscious saying, oh, well, my husband and I showed up in a room with billionaires, millionaires and billionaires. It was a business conference. And we stepped into the room. We had done all of those exercises and practice ahead of time. We were armored. We said to ourselves, we belong in this room. You know, we walk in and they did an exercise. There were about 300 of us, and we didn't know that they were auditioning us at the time. And they made everybody get up and give a 1 minute intro about yourself. 1 minute, that's it. They said if you go over a minute, they do the buzzer, right? And they said, just think of yourself on TV and what you would want people to know about you, and just say it in a minute. And my husband and I went up separately, and we just did our thing. Even though you're nervous, it's not a planned thing. You take the microphone, you just do the formula that they give you. And inside, I was thinking to myself, wow, I did not do a good job. And my husband was thinking the same thing. We, in our conscious mind, had already said, oh man, that sucked, right? Oh no, they recorded everything. And we were approached by so many people that said, wow, you are the TV host. You are the rock stars. You showed up like we've never seen before. And let me show you. And they showed us a recording of us, and we looked back and we thought, wow, we really did.
Oh,
But
that's
our
fun.
conscious minds were telling us, that we hadn't. But because we had done all the practice, 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 and the
Yeah.
work ahead of time, it didn't matter because our story is our story is our story. It doesn't matter. We showed up with the presence that made people feel safe, that trusted
Mm,
us, and it came across that way to everybody. And then they come up to us and they say, we want you to be a part of our ABC television series. We want you to be a part of this. It's like a rock star ripple effect. So
I
if you do
love
the
it.
practice and you know you belong in that room, then show up knowing, even if your mind is telling you, oh no, I'm going to fail, I'm going to do this. Just step into it, step
Yeah.
into that fear, because trust your voice, just like you said.
Yeah. You know, this. you're talking about stepping out, but you know what? In my own story, my counselor said, Karen, you're not showing up in your own life. And
Mm,
so I had to find my own voice first for myself, to
yes.
show up in my own life. And I love what you said too about that creating that peace. And it's kind of opens, I just envisioned like this open door where people could come in and listen or be a part of your life. It's like letting down your guard a little
Hmm.
bit. And one of the things that I love about these reflections, and you mentioned this too, it's like 10 minutes, girls.
Hmm.
And yes, you have to do that work first. And that's what I love about this. You ask a couple questions in each section. So, like one of the ones I picked out in the R section was I said, I've been holding back. Where have you been holding back?
Hmm.
Maybe it's in your own life, telling your story to yourself. And
Yes.
I think you mentioned, you know what? Grab your phone. You have a recorder right there.
Hmm.
Doesn't have to be for anybody else. Start sharing your story with yourself. Maybe it's letters you want to leave to your children. Sharing your story, your love story, or your, whatever story that is. And in the I section, the one of the questions I chose was choose a moment that carried weight.
Hmm. Hmm.
What kind of stories? And in the storytelling, part of my story I've been holding back. I guess that kind of part where, maybe I'm holding back somewhere. And empowers release the need for approval. That one, it was a big one for me because I think, especially as I was walking through so many life transitions of divorce and all these things. I think I was looking for approval, that I mattered, that my
Hmm.
skills mattered, that
Yes.
all those things. So I had to come to terms with those. And so when you start, I think when I felt that I've told my story, it helped me first. And yeah, I had to shed a lot of tears. But when I could start separating from the story and read it as like I'm reading somebody else's story,
Mm-hmm.
it took on a different life. And I was able to share that story. And I think that's what I see in this formula.
Thank you for saying that. It is in those moments of what we learn once you get past that catharsis and the, I can't believe this
Mhm.
happened to me. Once you get past that, then really reflect on what did I learn from this?
Yeah.
What can I take away? Because that will become the gift that you
Yeah.
can give somebody else that's going through that 1 year from now or 5 years from now, that gift that they're needing from you, that
Yeah.
secret sauce, so to speak.
Yeah.
Because when you've lived it and it's not theory, you haven't just read it in a book, when you've lived it, that is so much more powerful. So, yes, it is step into it. It's just reflect on how can I use this to help that one person today?
Yeah. Yeah, and so I think I just really want to encourage the women to go to the magazine, read through this, and you give great explanations too, and a lot of insight
Mhm.
into this secret formula, if you will, and to how can your story create that rock star ripple effect? I just love that because one of my things is that I like to bring out my inner rock star.
Woo-hoo.
Yeah, and in some of my clothes I have like big fur and things, so that I was laughing when I saw that rock star ripple effect. So, Janine, what would you like to leave the ladies with? What would you like them to experience as they walk through this framework?
Oh, thank you. Such a great question. And my mind is full right now because I'm really reflecting on the things that you have said as well. Just know that you are not alone. There's always hope. And sometimes when you step out of yourself, your own self misery, this happened for me, and think about that one other person that needs you today. Who needs me today? Not next year, not
Mm,
even next week. Who needs me today? The lioness doesn't awaken simply to survive. The lioness, the badass lioness, awakens to lead, to serve, and to leave footprints. So if we get out of our own way, and the best way to do that is think about how you can serve that one person, how you can show up for that one person, and get out of your own way, get out of your own head, then it benefits you as well. Because giving a gift, you have to admit, on Christmas, when you give a gift to somebody, they open it up and they're full of joy. That brings me just as much joy as it does the gift receiver. And that is what leadership is all about.
Yes. Yes. So what do you invite women into your world where you walk beside them?
Are you talking from a business
Yeah.
perspective?
So yeah, what do you do where women can come and maybe they're ready to share their story. What might
Mm,
that look like for them?
I love that because I have been on stages for over 3 decades in so many different capacities, but
Mhm.
I've also been on the other side of it, procuring entertainment and talent for major conferences like for Microsoft. And so I know what they're looking for. I know exactly the secret sauce of even at PTAs at church that really makes you go from unknown to unforgettable. And your
Mm,
story matters. It's how do you make that story matter to a point where people remember you way far beyond your words. And it's the way you move them, it's the way you make them feel. So, my company, we're a multimedia company, and our mission is to help 1 million people globally to take their stories and turn it into a movement. And we take you full circle. It's custom made packages depending on what you want to be your stage. And it starts with you. It starts with the RISE framework, the internal transformation. Some people are already past that, though. They're already on the other side and have learned how to tell their story in a way that moves people, but they're not visible. They have no idea how to get their name, their message known. And so right now, the main thing that we're doing is an anthology called Rockstar Ripple Effect. And we have partnered with experts in the business from ABC Television and Angel Tussey, the publishing companies. They call her the book angel. And this is intended for women that really do want to step into their leadership and step into the woman that they were created to be to make that rockstar ripple effect. And you get a chapter in a book called The Rockstar Ripple Effect, but we take it, it's a whole year-long journey where it doesn't just stop with the anthology. It's full on media presence, a year long. You get PR, podcast opportunities. We have our TV shows and our number one podcasts that we can get you on those stages. So it's a whole process of for that woman that is ready. She knows she's ready to go. She's not sitting on the sidelines anymore. She's saying, oh my goodness, let the badass lioness awaken. I want to take a step and do it all. And it's through our lived experience that we know what it takes and we know who to partner with. It's all about connections, right? We can't do anything on
right.
our own. So we're creating this whole community that I can guarantee will get you on stages. It will get you to bestseller status. So I know I probably talked way past my time, but I'm really passionate, as you
You
can see,
are.
about this because
Yes.
it's the best offer I've ever seen. Because
Yes.
I have been screwed over by bad offers that have been offered. That was redundant. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The offers where they it costs thousands of dollars and yet they overpromise under deliver. And this isn't me, talking specifically about any one company. I don't ever, that's not my point here. It's to say that we spent thousands of dollars and we wanted to see what was missing, what pieces that we could fill in the gaps that were needed. And that's what we've done here. We've filled in those gaps so other people don't have to lose thousands and thousands of dollars. I
Yes.
am
Well,
passionate about it.
yes, yes, you are. Yes. And it sounds like you want to provide a great experience for women. And,
Yes.
really, that's what we're about here is who can be our brave companions along the road of life. And
Yes.
who are those guys that can help guide us? And I think it's about that experience here at the Being
Yes.
Brave Tour. What do we want women to experience? We want them to
Mhm.
experience that peace you talked about, that stepping out, that rock star ripple effect, and all
Yeah.
these beautiful things. And there's this our podcast here will last many, many years, so it might be past that particular um, offer that you are working on currently. But the one thing that you can do, ladies, because it will be there, because it's living out there in digital land, is the reflection. That's a
Oh,
great place to
yes.
start. And if not, all of Janine's information is there. We'll have it in our notes how to connect with you. And so, what's just one little phrase that you want to leave the ladies with?
Oh,
Now we kind of already talked about that, but let's leave on a really beautiful note here.
what are you waiting for?
Oh,
What are you waiting for? Because tomorrow may never come. So if you are sure that you want to make a mark and send your message across the world to help people, what are you waiting for? And all it takes is that one first step. It doesn't have to be monumental. You don't have to do it all at once. 5 minutes a day sometimes is all it takes to make a huge difference in your own life, in that internal transformation that we are talking about, and in others' lives. So, what are you
yeah.
waiting for? There's no excuses. There's not any more, I'm too busy, I'm this, I'm that. We choose what's important to us. So, what are you waiting for?
Yes. Girlfriends, what are you waiting for? Go take that one step, not 12 steps, just one today. And we will see you next time. Thank you, Janine, for joining us today. What look
Oh,
forward to reading your story too in your
oh.
book and learning more about all those moments in your life. So, and reading your story. So, ladies, I love you. Give yourselves a hug. Take a big breath, and we'll see you next time.